Okay guys, so welcome back. We're talking about Adobe earnings today and basically technicals. They reported earnings, that's why we're talking about technicals of the stock after market close. This name is down more than 10%, sitting right at 507. Today's close was 570. So let's have a look what levels I'm watching and what I think about this name in terms of like trading it from short to medium term. But again, this is just purely for educational entertainment purposes. So this is my daily chart, what I was following for Adobe. So this blue line, this one I drew it somewhere here when I saw these two lows as a trend line. When it basically came back down, I was following it just to see if it would test it in the future and bounce off of it. It did it here, bounced it. Right here, this drop almost tried to stay above it, but it did bounce right below its 200-day moving average. It was trading at its 200-day moving average and it bounced off of that level. If you guys remember why it dropped here when every other stock was doing super well, is because AI tools, other tools, their competitors now, they were dropping some crazy footages, crazy photos, and Adobe stock didn't like it. So makes sense, right? I hope it makes sense. So now they reported earnings, pretty good earnings, but they guided lower. But they also announced 25 billion share buyback. Market capitalization of Adobe at this close was 250 billion, 255. So after 10%, 12% drop, you can say it's 225, okay, give or take. So they're going to buy back, let's say 10% of the market cap. And for how long terms, I don't know about the terms. And that's their division right here. 78% digital media, digital experiences, and some publishing, like advertising stuff, right? Net cash balance, 4 billion. So, and you can play here yourself, right? How they're expecting this growth to be for each division. But I want to talk about just the chart levels, because I'm a trader and I like to trade high beta names with options. If I switch to the yearly chart, you will see all-time highs, basically 700 from 2021. At these levels, this stock came down all the way to almost 250. So if I switch to yearly returns for Adobe, you can see it's been since 2011. It was the first time Adobe had this type of a decline in 2022, which is 40%. And 2023, last year, 77% gain. So we can say almost, but no, it didn't recover. When your stock drops 50%, it needs to go up 100% to break even for you. Okay, like simple math. There's a chart for this. Like, let's say if 20% drop, how much it needs to go up, 30% drop, how much. But year to date, right here, right now, Adobe is down 15%, while everything else trying to bounce. I know there are some struggling names such as Apple as well. Year to date, it's down. Worst one is Tesla. So right here, right now, Adobe is below its 200-day moving average. And for me, that's a sign that this stock is, I don't know if it's going to try to recover or not. But for me, this is a sign that it's in a bear market if it hits that 20% mark from its recent highs and what that level is. So if we just come down all the way from all-time highs of, not all-time highs, like these recent highs, 52-week highs, 632, and draw the line, it would put us right where the stock is sitting after market hours, 504, 505, okay? So now, if the stock slips below this level, $500 level, officially this stock is in a bear market for me personally. Again, this is not a finance, yeah, I'm not telling you to sell your stock. I'm gonna be trading the levels. Once it slips those levels, this was a pretty decent support, and it is still the support. It can try to bounce tomorrow because earnings were not that bad at all. It's just guidance, okay? They guided lower. So if it does that, next lifeline for Adobe would be this 475. That's the level I'm watching, and that's until they report another earnings, and we'll see what they say from there. But earnings, pretty good. I think they beat it. Nothing wrong to me regarding the earnings, but they got it lower for next quarter. So these are the levels I am watching, basically very simple to the downside, okay? But to the upside, well, you know now this 530 is going to be a resistance for Adobe, and it will have this huge gap from 570 all the way to 500. Can it try to fill it? Can it try to drift higher? Absolutely. How high it can come up? Well, it can still test a 200-day moving average, but to do that, I would be watching ultra short term 5-day moving average. I'll give it time, because when stocks drop big like this, it won't be trying to recover it quickly. Usually big drops, I'll show you something else right here. It might look something like this. It drops pretty big and then it drifts a little bit lower. Okay, it's not the perfect example, but let's go to Dollar Tree maybe. DLTR. Big gap down. It can do something like that. So, but again, I'll be updating, but so far Adobe for me on the edge of falling into bear market, and year to date it's down 15%. So see you in the next one.